Hi, this is Ben Delisle with Profound Networks, and it's a pleasure to be in touch today. I wanted to speak briefly about digital entity resolution as well as our technographic profiling. Essentially, the world has entered, of course, a digital age, and it's become more and more important to integrate traditional business data sets with crucial digital footprint signals. We refer to the process of linking traditional data to digital data as digital entity resolution, or DER for short. Profound's mission is to shed light on this issue in the master data management space and offer a programmatic and scalable solution to help master data management teams be most effective with the way that they leverage their data assets. Profound considers the domain to be a unique match key, as well as the bridge from the traditional data to the digital footprint insights, things such as technographics, intent, and other very important attributes that are basically required these days to be competitive and to participate in the digital marketing space. What you're seeing here on the screen on the left is a spreadsheet that a customer may give us. So we would get a company name, address 1, address 2, city, state, zip, possibly even a phone number. And these data points are traditional offline data points that have been around long before the internet. Profound has a programmatic platform we refer to as Domain Append that takes these data points and plugs them into a platform to identify the correct domain. What we essentially do is map each of the individual columns that you see here, company name through country code, to a candidate website, the source of truth. And as I'll show on the subsequent slide, when we see a match, we indicate true, meaning that the company name in your input file matches the company name on the website itself that we've identified. So Profound's in a position to fill in missing domains across your global database. As you can see, lines 7 through 10 represent domains, whether it be a straight domain or an email or a website URL. Profound can standardize that data, and we call the domain that you give to us the gold domain. The domain that we identify through our domain append process, we call the DA domain. It'll be very important to understand the DA domain as well as the gold domain, because we'll be doing comparisons between the two to confirm accurate domains on your file, as well as inaccurate domains where we can swap the gold domain for the correct DA domain. And I'll get into more of that in just a moment. What you can see here is an actual example of the domain append process. So imagine you gave us what's detailed on the spreadsheet, Anaheim Ice on Lincoln Avenue in Anaheim, California. What Profound does is we match the data points on your input file to a variety of candidate sites, pulling the best one, and then we release the match flag strings. And we do this on every single record so that you can transparently see the confidence of the match that we identify. And we do quantify the match flag strings to a confidence code. And we typically recommend anything of a 6 or higher to be effective. So as you can see here, we have trues on all the variables: Anaheim Ice, Lincoln Avenue, Anaheim, California, even a match on the phone number. So clearly this would be a highly accurate domain append match, and AnaheimIce.com is therefore the domain we would choose and the domain that we recommend you leverage. Now, in the event that you had a gold domain associated to this record, and let's say it was called AnaheimIceSkatingRink.com, that is not a correct domain for this record. In the event that that is the gold domain on this, we would see that there's a disagreement. And because we have trues across every match flag, and this is a valid website, we would want to say that our domain is correct. And it just so happens if you click on your gold domain, it could be a 404 or it could be a non-existent domain. And I'll have some clear examples of that in a moment where we can swap your domain for the correct domain that the DA process identifies. In our exploration of the internet, we encounter various scenarios where a domain is classified. What you're seeing here on this page is basically every scenario that we encounter when we analyze our 324 million global domains. The cream of the crop, of course, in the B2B space are the business domains. We then also look at redirects, for example, sun.com redirecting to oracle.com, or xyzcomputing.com redirecting to hugedomains.com. The first example being a positive redirect or a high value indicating an acquisition. The second one being low value to a parked website. We also see non-business or others like family photo sites or blogs or directories. The remaining ones in reddish orange are basically ad spam, under construction, and 404s and so forth. They're basically garbage classifications. In order to operationalize these domain classifications, we wanted to put it into a more ingestible format. So we created domain grade. Domain grade ranges from A to F, with A's and B's being legitimate business domains, A's being a higher confidence than B. Grade C includes other classifications and things like photo blogs and so forth. Grade D includes redirects. So again, we have high value and low value redirects, which we can distinguish between. Grade E and F represent garbage, dead sites, not accurate. So if you recall in the prior example, when I mentioned Anaheim Ice, we would identify Anaheim Ice with all the true match flags as a grade A. If you had AnaheimIceSkaters.com associated to that record being your gold domain, and it's a dead website, we would grade your gold domain an F. So when we go through our process of appending the DA domain, we can look at the high match flag string combinations for confidence. And then when we grade your domain, if we see an A and they match, then that means that we've more or less qualified your domain as accurate. But what about the examples where we identify an A and we have a high match flag string score on our DA domain, and your domain, the gold domain, is an E or an F? A subset of your data set will reflect that type of data universe. And that is low-hanging fruit for us to add immediate value to your master data management strategy. What you're seeing here is the actual layout that encompasses our digital entity resolution process. So when we provide domain append, you can see in the reddish orange, these are field names related to the DA domain that we find. So of course we give you the domain. We also, through our ultimate domain library, give you the domain type. So if the DA domain is geico.com, we would identify that as a child domain. And in that case, the ultimate domain would be berkshirehathaway.com. So Profound's ultimate domain library will give you the added benefit of linkage. We find that numerous data sets contain orphaned domains or domains that are part of a larger organization but are not properly associated within the family tree, the digital family tree. A good way of looking at it is imagine having your entire data set of DUNS numbers with no domestic or global ultimate. It would be a linkage mess. And we help to clean up your digital linkage through our ultimate domain library. We'll also tell you how many families or how many domains are part of the family. The green section is the transparent results of the DA, the domain append, where we identify the match flags as well as the score, as illustrated with Anaheim Ice. We also analyze if the domain redirects. We tell you where it redirects to, And we also are at the point now where we can tell you if it redirects to a high value, like indication of a merger or acquisition, or low value, if it redirects to huge domains or pseudo parking. In addition, we identify if it redirects to a LinkedIn page, a Facebook page, or another social media page. The light blue section are a few data points from our digital business intelligence process. The DBI density score simply reflects how sophisticated the network is behind the DA domain. So we look at 300 plus data points, things like e-commerce, analytics, cloud footprint, and many other data points to determine the DBI density score. The higher the number, the more sophisticated the network is behind the domain. We also look at the popularity of the domain with our domain rank algorithm. Domain rank is similar to Google PageRank. The lower the number, the more popular the website. And we have this on basically every business domain on the internet. We then, of course, give you the DA domain grade. Ideally, of course, we would see A's and B's here on most of them because part of the domain append process is to identify the correct domain. But in some cases, the correct domain we identify may redirect, or we may have slightly lower confidence, thus the difference between A's and B's. The final section in gold is data that you provide to us that we analyze. So if you don't give us a domain associated to your record, the gold section would be completely empty. So what we do is we look at your gold domain, and then we'll tell you again, like we illustrated above in the DA section, is the gold domain a child? Is it an ultimate? And so forth. We also provide the family count, the redirect status, and then the DBI data points similar to the light blue. What's the gold domain's density, domain rank, and domain grade? Now, what's interesting here is this gives you the knobs and dials to run queries to find out where they agree and both have A's and B's, which would be confidence inspiring, or where they disagree, the DA domain and the gold domain, and the DA domain has a grade of A or B, and the gold domain has a grade of E or F. You could run a simple query with this outputted result on your file. So in the event that we want to understand where the DA domain and the gold domain disagree, and the gold domain has an E or an F, and the DA domain has a grade of an A or B, it would make sense that these are records that you would immediately want to swap out, because any of these gold domains will result in a dead web page. These are not valid domains. This excerpt is from an actual client file where they gave us these gold domains along with company name, address, city, state, zip, and so forth. It's truncated just for viewing purposes here. But this is a simple example where we analyzed the entire file through digital entity resolution, and we queried, show me where gold domain and DA domain disagree, where gold domain is an F and DA domain is an A. So this is a simple process to swap out the incorrect domains with the correct domains, adding immediate value. When it comes to redirects, it's another massive pain point in the master data management space, and it's always changing. That's why Profound proposes a sustainable long-term solution in partnership. So when you look at gold domains that are relatively high value, we can see all of these on the left redirect to Cisco.com. So Navini, Jasper, Luxtera, Meraki, these are all acquisitions, one would beg to guess here. And what that shows us is that many of these domains are not properly, or most likely not properly identified in your data set as actually belonging to Cisco. If you wait for offline compilers to update the data set to reflect mergers and acquisitions, it could take upwards of a year through that legal traditional path, whereas redirects are basically done by the time the ink is dry on the acquisition papers. So when you partner with Profound, part of the process and what we showed you on the prior digital entity resolution layout is to indicate if there's a redirect. The file that we analyzed for the purpose of this review also had a lot of low value redirects. You can see 71,000 domains in the data set redirected to hugedomains.com, which is obviously a parked low value site. Afternic, Dan.com, Domain Market, all of these represent low value redirects. And we will distinguish between these on your data set. When we look at Profound's entire domain data set and we grade it, you can see here that we have about 90 million A's or B's. Keep in mind that WorldBase has about 18 million unique domains. So we have a considerably larger universe of legitimate business domains. We hold on to the E's because they might resolve ultimately to an A or a B. They just are not active yet. We do retain the data set of directories and video blogs and all that, but they're classified as C's. And then, of course, we have the redirects with grade D, which we just covered moments ago. But what you can see from this page is that we have a very good handle on what domains are of business value in our entire universe. And again, that's close to 90 million. The Ultimate Domain Library is an innovation that Profound has recently released that encompasses about 26 million unique domains and about 8 million ultimate domains. So what we're basically doing here is we are looking at numerous IT and digital footprint signals to link the family of domains to what we call an ultimate domain. So in the case here, Nestle.com is an ultimate domain. We can see here that they have various child domains like Parmalat.ca, Gerberlife.com, Nespresso.com, and many others. We have found that traditional linkage does not effectively track brands typically. It'll just be legal entities, and therefore many domains are missed as part of a family. And we find that when domains are absorbed or ingested from third parties that you might license data from, or online web registration forms, many domains come in that are not accurately categorized. And that's one of the solutions that's part of our digital entity resolution package. And you can see that we also have a unique sizing data point we call the employee e-count. The employee e-count is the number of unique email users at each domain. So if you're interested in understanding the head count or the seat count, this is a deterministic data point that is not modeled whatsoever. And it represents a great proxy for employee size at the granular domain level. And there's various use cases around that we can discuss as our relationship continues to flourish. Here we're looking at some examples of gold domains that don't redirect to Cisco, but they're children domains to Cisco, which is the ultimate domain of Cisco.com. So in the same data set that we've been analyzing for the purpose of this demo, not only did we find many gold domains that redirected to Cisco.com, we also found numerous gold domains that are child to Cisco.com. So when you think about the collective universe of domains for Cisco systems in this database, you have dozens of redirects and dozens of child domains. Imagine being the account rep for Cisco and not being privy to all of these networks and understand what they look like and not able to accurately understand their digital footprint. We help to alleviate that situation at scale. Here you can see our domain linkage counts. The numbers are actually a little bit higher now, but this gives you a good idea as to the breadth of Profound's ultimate domain library and digital linkage. You can see here that in the example of Cargill, they all share the same favicon hash. If you were to type one of these domains into a browser, you know that little symbol that is indicative of the logo of the company. That's actually a favicon. And all of these domains, as an example, share the exact same favicon hash, indicating irrefutable evidence that these are all domains associated to the ultimate domain, which is cargill.com. In the other example, you can see jnj.com, our name server, is a name server domain, and all of these child domains share that exact same name server. Johnson & Johnson is not in the business of renting out name servers. We know unequivocally that these are Johnson & Johnson child domains based on the fact that they do in fact all share the same name server. And there are many other digital footprint attributes that are factored in before we say with conviction that these domains are associated to these ultimate domains. These are just a few examples. The example you're seeing here is for Sanofi, which is a global pharmaceutical company based in France. And you can see here that all of these domains on the left, we have labeled as email domains because they all have an employee count. And we can see in descending order the number of employees per domain. The reason this is valuable is Sanofi has 5,955 child domains as of August of this year, and many of those may not be of interest to a marketer or an account manager focused on this account. Rather, they may want to understand which domains have some degree of autonomy, and in this case, they have their own dedicated mail server, and you can see in descending order the size of these accounts or these subsidiaries, if you would. So it gives you a great way to rank or prioritize the domains associated to Sanofi that have a dedicated email server. And you can see here, again, they all share the same name server domain. And as part of Profound's digital business intelligence, we also can see the mail server IP address, and so forth. So Profound is focused on rich technographics as well. And in our opinion, once we solve digital entity resolution for you, we can then focus on enrichment at scale. Here's an example for Disney Corporation. You can see that they have a significant network and they own many properties. And again, the ultimate domain is the WaltDisneyCompany.com. And then we have various child domains with employee counts. And this is out of 6,482 unique child domains. These are the ones that we see as most important given their level of autonomy and the size of the employee count. Profound has also identified industry classification at internet scale through natural language processing. So we can also provide a 2-digit NAICS code for every business in your data set on a globally agnostic basis. This is going to give you a great way to classify at the domain level the correct industry code. It's sort of similar to employee count, which is also at the domain level, but that's focused on employee size, and this is focused on industry. On our next video, we'll get into technographic enrichment. I want to take a moment to thank you for spending time on digital entity resolution today. And until next time, we will talk soon. Thanks a lot.